This is a comment I get almost every week by email. If you make so much money trading and you've been trading for 10 years now, why don't you have a Lamborghini yet? If I've been trading for 10 years and full-time for about 6 years now. People sometimes even calling me a scammer for not having a Ferrari or something to show them as a proof I make profit from trading. So time to answer that questions of why I don't buy fancy cars. Alright, so I'm having fun making this video here because it's a question that I get a lot and I see the logic behind it and I see why it doesn't make sense people asking this sometimes. So today I'm going to tell you to use straight, and you might hate me for this one afterward. If you unsubscribe, that's not my fault, that's your fault. But let's kind of go into it. Now, people are used these days to seeing traders online with these Ferraris, these Lamborghinis, these fancy cars as a proof they're making money. And I'm always surprised when I see these videos online and people love to see these Ferraris and these like fancy cars, and they comment and say, oh wow, you've made it, good job, you have a nice car. That's cool if people see it that way. That's not how I see it myself. I'm going to share with you why in this video I don't buy fancy cars as a full-time trader who've been trading full-time for 6 years and over now. Okay, now the first thing you got to understand, which is like the very basic concept of this whole thing, is what's an asset and what's a liability. This is something I learned way back like maybe 8 or 10 years ago when I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. He talks about the difference between what's an asset and what's a liability. Very simply put, on a very short basis, you can watch other videos on that if you want. An asset is something that you invest in or you buy that produces money, makes returns over time. So if you put money in it, you're going to get more money long term from that asset. A liability is something you buy, you spend money on, but doesn't give you any money back. And you kind of even maybe lose money long term over it. So if you buy a business, that's an asset if it makes money. If you buy a house, depending on where it is and like how much value it gets over time, that could be a liability or an asset. If you have to spend a lot of money to renovate it, and it doesn't make you any money back, like you don't have any tenant to rent the house or something, that's more a liability unless you're able to make some money back with it over time. If you invest in the stock market, that's of course a big asset because then you can make money over time, you can make returns on that. If you trade, that's also an asset. Then when we get to cars, well, cars get you from one place to the other one. Some people buy cars, they keep it for a while, they can resell it even higher in some cases, like these rare models. But most people don't make money back on the car. They buy a car, then the next day if they buy it new, it loses money already. And they got to pay for the repairs, they got to do this and that and the maintenance. And at the end, they might sell the car for a very small fraction of what they paid for it in the beginning. So the car in itself, even though they're able to go different places, it doesn't make them money. It doesn't make them richer. It actually makes them poor because they bought that car. Now, before we get further, I do want to get the facts straight. So let me have a look quickly at what is the price of a Lamborghini. So I'm going to go and have a look here at the website from Australia, because in Thailand, things would be a lot more expensive with the tax and everything on the cars. But that's what we get. So we have a nice Huracan here for around $608,000, right? Pretty cool. Okay, that's nice. This one is around $500,000. That's cool. Now, last year I made around $500K in terms of my revenues. So with some financing, you could argue I could easily get that car. Right? That's the kind of car that you get at this kind of returns. People make $40K a year. They buy a car at like $50K, right? Or $100K even, or $80K sometimes with financing and everything around. So this is definitely doable if I was in Australia, for example. Now, what's the return if I buy a car, like a Lamborghini or whatever? Let's say that nice Huracan. If I buy this, what's the return I get on this, right? Maybe I'm going to get some sales if I like put it on YouTube or something, and I kind of get beginners to kind of trust me and buy into my course. Maybe. But is it going to make me a better trader? No, it's going to make me the same trader I am already. Is it going to help me to make some more returns? No. Well, if I take that same money, that $500K that I have or that I finance or whatever over time, and I put it into my own trading account. I've been trading for 10 years now, 6 years full time. That's something that even with good risk management and like a very small target, I can get probably like 20%, 30% a year on it. That's like $120,000 a year from it of return I could get if I invest that money into my own trading account. Now, that's not nothing. Like that's pretty high. That's 20% more revenue year after year if I just take money that I could spend on a car and I put it into my own account for trading. Now, what Robert Kiyosaki talks in his book is that, of course, we cannot get rid of all liabilities. We got to spend money on things. You probably got to buy a car at some point. I have a car now, which is a very simple Mazda 2. I'm pretty happy with it. The goal is if you're able to spend money into your assets to then make some monthly returns, make some monthly cash flow, and then use that cash flow to spend on liabilities. So if you can invest money first, then you have some monthly cash flow. You can then rent things or buy whatever with that monthly cash flow. That's the idea here, right? So it's not about like all putting your money into one thing and like spending all your returns to a Lamborghini because you feel like it. It's because it's actually about investing smart first. Then you can invest your return into things you care about. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. We've covered that topic of assets a little bit now, but the next thing I want to talk about is a lot of people have insecurities around money. And the reason why they buy fancy things like the fancy cars or the fancy watches, whatever, which is nothing of what I have right now, is because they want to prove other people they made it. They want to show other people how good they are. They want to show they become millionaires. They want to show they make like $500,000 a year or whatever by buying these fancy things and proving it to people. How else would you show that you've made money if you don't have like fancy things to show people? And that's what a lot of companies do when they target richer people, is they always target that like self-esteem aspect. Always that aspect of you're going to be this person, you're going to be that person. It's like an exclusive thing that you want to join. And that's why you buy this specific thing. Same thing Apple does on a certain level. Whenever you buy a phone with Apple, they kind of want to target the like being exclusive, being like the best, being fancy, more than these other companies. And people buy iPhones because they want to look good, because they want to look like they have an iPhone. Same principle. Of course, we take it at the extreme with buying a car and something even more luxurious. Now, do you really want to be a slave to your insecurities and to proving other people that you've made it and to always want to buy the next thing? Because if you buy that car, the next time when you make even more money, you want to buy something else to prove people you've made it again. Then next time when you have even more money, you want to show the people how you've made it with a Rolex or whatever. Something else, right? Do you really want to be a slave for this, or do you want to use your money to get richer and even grow your net worth and probably even build an empire and get to a point where one day you don't even have to work or you don't even have to do things you don't want to do in life? How cool would that be compared to being a slave to spending money just for the sake of spending money on fancy things that validate who you are and how much money you make? I'd much rather go about it the smart way and actually build my own empire and make even more money as I want than I have freedom to do whatever I want. I don't want to buy fancy things necessarily because I don't care for these things that much, but I can spend money on things I care about, like traveling, like going to different countries, like spending most of the year in different places, like doing some cool stuff that I like to do. You get to a point where, honestly, you don't care about purchases anymore. When you do something you love on a daily basis and you're actually happy with what you do, and you see you have a much better return on trading than purchases. Whatever you purchase, like when you throw away, you cannot really make money back on it. Of course, most things, if you invest in yourself, is different. If you buy some things that can make you more return, is different. But when you see trading as being able to make 20, 30%, 40% or more per year, that's a huge return compared to other things. Some people buy real estate and they get 5% per year and they're happy with it. Some people invest into businesses and they make 10% a year. Some people invest in the stock market long term, they make 10% a year. You as a trader can make 20, 30% or more per year. I think that's pretty good. And you kind of over time delay that gratification of having a fancy car. You wait for later when you know you could be spending money on different things. I would much rather save money now and invest it for something bigger later, like a big house or something or something I really care about. Like a big house or something I really care about, as opposed to a car that I only buy to look rich or kind of look cool to other people. In the end, though, I think you should really think about what you care about and what things are important to you and what are your passions. I have some passions that are different from the people. I like to fly planes. I took a private pilot license. That costs, of course, a lot of money. Not so much compared to like a Lamborghini or whatever, but it's something that I care about. I want to do. I might want to rent some planes in the future. I want to be able to do things. I might want to travel more and go to different countries. That's something I care about. Therefore, I invest my money into this. If you really, really care about cars, like you love cars, you love the engines, love the design, sure, like go ahead and buy a car when you get rich. But you don't have to do it because other people do it or because you have to prove people you're doing something well. It should be based on what you care about. Then you just go do this. And you don't do it for the people, you do it for yourself only. I think that's the key here. Nothing wrong with buying fancy cars, but you won't see me like these other gurus on YouTube trying to promote courses with a Lamborghini or whatever the next day. That won't happen for sure. Because I don't believe in these things and think the financial decision is stupid as a trader and it makes no sense and I would not be excited about it anyway. So leave me a comment below. I'm curious to hear what you think. Do you agree with this? Am I a scammer for not buying a Lamborghini and trading and kind of doing things in my own term? Let me know in the comment section below. If you don't agree with this, I'm happy to hear your comments. Make sure you subscribe. I publish videos like this 3 times a week. I'll have you be subscribed and not miss any of these videos. And I'll catch you back here in the next video pretty soon. Ciao.